Welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through this today, because we're about to take an incredible leap right into the ancient past. We so often look back at ancient civilizations and just picture this world of simple tools, right? Lots of primitive manual labor. But what if I told you the past was way more technologically advanced than we usually give it credit for? Today, we're opening up the diary of a brilliant young mind from antiquity to uncover the astonishing engineering marvels that secretly powered the ancient world.
I mean, seriously, what if I told you that vending machines and steam engines are actually over 2,000 years old? It sounds totally like science fiction, doesn't it? We're all taught to think of steam engines as, the birth of the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century. And vending machines, well, those are just a modern convenience. But honestly, this is one of the biggest misconceptions about human history. Okay, let's dive into this and completely shatter this myth of primitive antiquity.
Section 1. The Young Magician of Rome. So the year is 70 AD, and to truly wrap our heads around these marvels, we really need to look through the eyes of the person who actually built them. Meet our guy Lucius. He's a brilliant young Roman engineer stationed in the super busy, bustling hub of Alexandria, and he's got a lot on his plate. He's been personally tasked by the emperor with this incredibly high-stakes job, managing the complex, totally hidden machinery for a massive citywide temple festival. Just picture it. The very first rays of sunlight are just hitting the Mediterranean waves, and Lucius is waking up. It's festival day, and absolutely everything has to go off without a hitch.
Section 2. Tech of Time and Security.
So as Lucius rolls out of bed and starts his super high-stakes morning routine, the very first thing he does is check his Clepsydra, or water clock. Now, this isn't your average sundial. This ancient timekeeping device doesn't even rely on the sun. Instead, water actually drips at a highly precise mathematical rate from one vessel down into another. And as that water level rises in the bottom vessel, it lifts this tiny mechanical float that points to the exact hour. Checking it, Lucius realizes, yikes, he only has exactly 3 hours left until this massive festival kicks off. And by the way, this device was insanely reliable. It was so accurate that Roman courts actually used these exact same water clocks to strictly time how long lawyers were allowed to speak. How cool is that?
All right, so Lucius gets stressed. He rushes out of his secret workshop, but obviously he can't just leave all his brilliant inventions unguarded, right? And this is where the sheer ingenuity of ancient security is on full display. He pulls this massive, heavy oak door shut and takes off a special ring that he's wearing on his finger. But it's not just jewelry. This ring is actually a highly complex, miniaturized ward lock key. He pops it into the door, and as he turns it, these internal iron pins are perfectly pushed out of the way. It secures with this really heavy, unpickable, satisfying click. I mean, this wasn't just some simple latch. This was a sophisticated mechanical marvel that virtually no street thief of the time was ever going to bypass.
Section 3. Machines running the empire.
Now, on his morning commute across the sprawling city to get to the temple, Lucius passes the city's industrial-scale mill. When you and I think of ancient grain milling, we usually picture, people or donkeys just walking in circles all day long. But no, this is a massive facility powered entirely by rushing water flowing straight from a Roman aqueduct. The water catches and turns these enormous wooden water wheels, one after another in sequence. It's like a giant, unstoppable engine. This single machine completely replaced human labor for this task. It literally ran day and night using raw hydraulic power to grind metric tons of flour for the whole city's population every single day.
Continuing on his walk, he passes the huge seawalls of the city's brand new harbor. The ocean waves are just violently pounding against the stone, but the walls, they don't crumble at all. And why? Because of pozzolana. That's Roman self-healing concrete. It's this very specific mix of volcanic ash and lime. And here's the crazy part. When microscopic cracks form and seawater rushes in, it triggers a chemical reaction that literally grows new crystals inside the concrete, sealing up the damage completely automatically. And this brilliantly illustrates the immortal nature of Roman engineering. Just like the empire itself, the infrastructure was designed to adapt, to heal, and to endure for millennia. And it worked. A lot of these structures are literally still standing today, totally untouched by the ocean, even after 2,000 years.
Section 4. The first steam engine. Though Lucius finally makes it to the temple courtyard and ducks into his hidden engineering tent right behind the altar. And sitting there, quietly over a small fire, is a device that pretty much everyone else at the time just thinks is a toy, an amusing little trinket. But Lucius, he knows it holds the very power of the distant future. It's called the Pile.
It's basically a hollow bronze sphere suspended right over a fire basin. As the fire heats the water inside the sphere, it starts to boil. And that immense pressure forces steam out of two bent tubes on the sides, making the entire heavy bronze sphere spin rapidly in midair. This is without a doubt the world's very first steam engine. While the crowds outside just see a philosopher's wonder, Lucius looks at that spinning metal and realizes, hey, harnessing steam pressure could one day do the work of thousands of men and completely change the world. Let's keep moving and see how this kind of thinking builds into his grandest illusion of the day.
Section 5. Miraculous Doors of the Temple.
All right, the 3 hours are up. The festival has officially begun. Thousands of devout worshippers are packed tightly into the courtyard, and you can literally feel the anticipation hanging in the air. The high priest steps forward in his ceremonial robes and lights the grand altar fire. And boom! This triggers Lucius's ultimate masterclass in engineering. To the thousands of worshippers watching, this is a literal divine miracle. They're seeing these massive, multi-ton temple doors groaning and slowly swinging wide open entirely on their own. They assume the gods themselves are welcoming them inside. But behind the scenes, this magic is actually a marvel of pure science. It relies on a masterful, highly calculated application of heat, pneumatic pressure, and mechanical pulleys.
So, the crucial point is how this chain reaction works, entirely hidden from the public eye. When the high priest lights that altar fire above ground, the heat travels down and perfectly warms a hidden, sealed, copper vessel filled with air right beneath the floorboards. That trapped air heats up, and naturally, it expands, but having nowhere to go, that pressurized air forcefully pushes water out of an adjacent tank, through a pipe, and straight into a massive suspended bucket. As that bucket fills with water, it gets incredibly heavy and drops down into a hidden chamber. And that dropping motion, it pulls these tightly wound ropes connected to a whole series of mechanical pulleys, which effortlessly swing those massive temple doors wide open. Seriously, not a single human hand even touched those doors. It is just pure, unadulterated physics, brilliantly disguised as divine intervention.
Section 6. The first vending machine.
So, still riding the absolute high of the miracle they just witnessed, these astounded worshippers pour into the massive temple, and right inside, near the inner sanctuary, they find this beautiful, ornate brass box promising divine blessings straight to the faithful. Imagine this. A worshipper drops a heavy bronze coin into a small slot right at the top of the box. As the coin falls, it hits a precisely balanced metal pan inside, weighing one side down. That pan gets depressed, which pushes the other end of a lever upward. This simple little action quickly opens a delicate valve connected to a water reservoir, letting exactly one measure of holy water flow right out into the devotee's hands. But wait, here's the genius part. Because the pan is tilted, the coin eventually just slides right off the edge and falls into a secure lockbox at the bottom. Instantly, the weight is gone, the pan snaps back up, the lever drops, and the valve closes tight. The devotee bows in total awe at this direct, perfectly measured blessing from the gods. Meanwhile, Lucius is just hiding in the shadows, smiling at his flawless execution of counterweights and levers.
The festival wraps up as a massive success. As the sun sets over Alexandria, Lucius heads home, reflecting on everything he's built. He writes, "Today they call it magic and miracles, but one day the entire world will be built on the foundation of this technology." And honestly, that captures the profound truth of our historical analysis today. From water clocks to steam engines, from automated doors to vending machines, ancient engineers like Lucius weren't just playing around with toys. They were literally laying the mathematical and physical groundwork for our modern age. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought. The next time you use a vending machine or marvel at some piece of modern automation, ask yourself, are you really experiencing the cutting edge of today, or simply the echo of a brilliant Roman engineer from 2,000 years ago? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating diary with me, and definitely keep